Do you ever look at like the people on the plane and
Always.
like try to like contextualize almost like these are not the people I'm going to go down with? They're not it.
Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Hey.
Whoa, I was in. You took it away.
What's going on? I'm not in control of any of that, so I don't, that's this guy over here.
Well, we can't play too much of it. You want him to buy the, can't give away the milk.
You started the show with two things that I'm really, really would like to just like backpedal if we can. You gave yourself the Heimlich?
Yeah, over a chair. It was intense.
Wow.
Super intense. It was. You know what's funny? I ended up dating that girl for a while because she was like, "You were the coolest."
Because you've already been through the.
Well, she was like, "You were the coolest I could imagine being." She's like, "I think I would have just died. I don't think I would have had the common sense to get up and put yourself over the chair and try and like kick it out." It was crazy.
No. Also, I just want to point because you can't tell from these positions. Tom's a giant, so I don't know what kind of monster chair. Like it was like big blue couch chair stuff, like that you threw yourself over to fucking give yourself the high. Tom's 6'5", 6'5".
Yeah,
is that
6'4", right there, right there.
Oh, okay. I gave you an inch.
Did you come at it with some momentum?
Oh no! I was just like, I just kept like trying to get it like in my solar plex because you can't do that to yourself.
I am terrified, absolutely terrified
of that.
I'm gonna choke.
Yeah,
at all points. Yes.
It was a really scary experience. And then when I spit it out, I spit it into a napkin and rolled it up and put it on my plate. And I was like, all right, I'm done with that. The waitress said they took it to the back and the guys in the kitchen opened it up and were like, oh my God, I can't believe that he choked on that, which is crazy, right?
It was just like a whole chicken.
You know how like you
we're
cut
talking
a chicken?
Tender, a breast, what
like
was
a cutlet.
it?
Like it was a legit cutlet, but you know how they usually cut it into like pieces? I guess they didn't cut the pieces completely, so I couldn't chew it. It was too much to chew. I know, intense.
Oh my God, my palms are sweaty for that situation.
I've never thought about what kind of chicken is until you just asked, and now I'm just picturing again because of like you're just like old school like King Richard like getting it off the bone.
That would have been better medieval times, like
that's what I'm
cartoon,
thinking.
like the entire turkey leg.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like I was sitting there. That's what next time you tell this story, you got to just embellish it. Add whatever Sarah gave you. Increase the size of the chair. Really go for it. It is choking is my mom is like she has like severe allergies and she will choke on like nothing, Cheerios, like whatever the fuck it is. I remember when I was a kid, like it was just like she'd be eating something and then like because of like phlegm, allergies, whatever it is, like just start choking. And so I would hear it and like run into the room and it was always like a paranoia thing for me.
This is gonna be the dopest episode ever. We got Sarah Jaffe on. Let's talk about some choking.
Everyone's
choking
like, all right.
Spit, choking on flowers. Choking on...
We're like, all right, everybody, in alphabetical order, what is the worst thing you swallowed? Right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No. But it is scary. It's fucking scary. We were, I don't know. It's that and are you a good swimmer? Because I'm going deep into fears now. I'm always afraid of I can swim, but I like have
tired.
This about getting like tired and like drown. Yeah.
No, not into it. Really?
No.
Absolutely horrified.
Yeah, same.
No. I would like to think that I'm a good swimmer, but I also haven't been in the water long enough to be like, exhausted. And
Yes, exactly.
that is the exact reason why I shan't swim in the ocean.
I don't swim in the ocean either. And people shit on me because I live in New
Mm-mm.
Jersey. And they're like, why do you live there if when you go to the beach, you don't go in the water? And I'm like, I go to the beach because I still look good going to the beach. And also, I just, it looks like I enjoy everything. But I just lie there and then leave in a half an hour and get a pizza.
Yes. That's my game too. That's my move.
Yeah.
I'm ankle deep. I've been to, I mean, growing up in Texas, the only beach we had was Galveston. And so we went, in the summers and whatnot. But
right.
There were a few times where like the current, like you could feel how strong the current was. And just the pure panic that came over was like, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Digging into Sarah's fears. Let's get into the next biggest fear.
Yeah. We're like, let's talk about air travel. As performers. I did that accidentally. I did that to, do you know Pip Brown? Do you know Lady Hawk?
I love Lady Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah. She was on the other day.
Rad.
I know, she's so
great.
No
shit.
Yeah, she was on the other day, and I didn't know she was flying like literally the next day or like in a few hours after we got done, and I went ahead and told this story about my last plane before COVID hitting an air pocket, and we dropped like 100. But I was just like, oh my god, yeah, there's another crazy story, and then I just kind of saw her face and she was laughing, and I was like, you have to fly tomorrow, don't you? And she was just like.
Man.
Do you ever look at like the people on the plane and like try to like contextualize almost like these are not the people I'm going to go down with? They're not it. You know what I'm saying? Like I won't go down with that guy.
That's hilarious.
Or that woman. You know what I'm saying? There's just like a certain like.
You're right.
A certain something.
Yeah.
If it was an old couple that were just like, we're going to see our,
yes,
maybe then.
Yeah, there's definite signs. Anytime,
but wouldn't it be worse? Like if you looked around, you're like, these are all the people I would want to go down with.
That's what she said. I think.
No, I'm saying if it was the opposite, if you looked around, it was all the people you'd be okay going down to the plane with, because you'd be like, I resigned this to be the moment.
I've got my mom, I got my dad.
I was gonna say it would have to be like close friends and family if you were okay with it. I feel like I would look for like any kind of talk of like a couple being like, we just met out of fluke and this is our engagement. I'd be like, oh, that's a red flag.
Whoa, that is a red flag.
Yeah. Or like if there was an older couple, but they were like that song by Fastball. No, I'm making shit up now.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like the first time they fly.
Yeah. They made up their mind. They started packing. Blah blah blah.
Wait.
Oh God. And
this is also a unique part of our show that always happens.
Packing.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then the whole song is about this older couple that pieces out, and because it was based on a real news story.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it was based on a story, and then they just kind of embellished like them never being found. They did actually find it, but this couple was like. I think their son, there was an older couple and their son like called the police and was like, I can't make my mom and dad are not there. And they're also kind of like senile at this point. Like, can you guys try to find them? But they packed their bags and left. So all their shit was gone and they got into their car and then just drove off. And then later they did find their car. They had passed away, but they'd just driven their car like and pulled over into like a ditch somewhere. But people like, along the route,
this
like
is what the Fastball song is about.
That's what the Fastball song is about. The guy read the paper that day and then wrote a song based on the story. But the story and the song is much more. It's kind of like, they just wanted to get out of wherever they were doing, so they packed everything they liked and then pieced the fuck out this older couple, and that was it. But they didn't
20 years
die
late to this one.
That's why we have Dystopia tonight. This is what we just filling in the gaps of your life.
Dropping knowledge.
Remember that old show where they would like bring people on from people's past? I just fill in like pop culture references. We'll cut
that felt very like Phil Collins in the air of the night.
So anyway, that's basically it. But how have you been? I know you got this new thing coming out. Explain to me, is it? I feel bad because I didn't actually know whether it was a single or a.
Don't feel bad for 1 second. Don't do it. It's so my bandmate and I,
Mhm.
Rob Sanchez, when
Nice.
the last time I have actually toured since then. In 2019, at the end of a tour,
Okay.
before the black wave came, Rob and I were talking about starting like a little production side project, and then the pandemic hit, and we really just kind of dove in and just bounced music back and forth. We released a track like a year ago, and then this past, well, it was about 6 months ago, Rob and I did this track for a really lovely artist named Greg Vanderpool. He just kind of reached out to a bunch of artists that he liked, and knew that Rob and I were kind of, working on our production side of things, more so just kind of working with other artists mainly.
Nice.
And Greg asked us to interpret a song of his, which is a song called Night Drive. And what Rob and I made was really like, to me, it's just like such a beautiful, it's like just patchwork. It's just like sonic patchwork, which, I mean, if I'm being honest, how I record now is probably not too far off from where I was before. Like it's just usually recording vocals here and then doing them elsewhere in a studio.
Right.
But this was just, it just kind of came out of the gate together, and we ended up with something really lovely. And then my girlfriend, who is a phenomenal animator and video maker, did the video for Night Drive, which will also come out on 420.
Yeah. It's beautiful. That
Isn't
is
it amazing?
It
really just it does all the right things, it just pulls you in and it keeps you there. But it doesn't, like, you're still able to enjoy the song and also just pay attention to all the detail.
With your vocals in the background and the animation, it's very, very mesmerizing. Like, it's beautiful.
She talented. Man, it took her the amount of work. Just watching it, like, chiming in every couple months just to see what's been made, and just this. I mean, she created a world. It's really several different worlds. It's beautiful.
It is really nice. I've done I can draw and stuff like that, but it's cartoons. I just want to throw, I don't know how to say it. I really don't.
John.
I know.
Great.
It's so fucking horrible. What I was gonna say is, as I've had to try. It's so horrible. I've had to try to animate.
Do you have an example nearby?
I do, actually. I think I have my book, but it's over there. I don't want to get up. There's probably some shit on the walls. What do I have? Actually, it'd be really funny if I had a really bad doodle.
John,
I do.
She's trying to say draw something right now. We want to see that it's you and not just hold it up somebody else's art.
Draw some right now. What I'm saying is I had to. We were pitching a show. And they were like, hey, we need to animate this thing. Can you do it? And I was like, no, I can't do it. And they're like, well, you're going to have to. We don't have any money. And I was like, oh, cool. And I tried to. And it's so fucking terrible. So whenever I see, I can imagine how much work and time and it's just anytime I see something like that done super well, I'm like, holy shit. They must have spent out. It just always amazes me.
It takes forever. A minute is I gotta draw 300 of these.
I know. I always ask
people.
That's when
you do it flipbook style.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's crazy is also I love that you appreciate it that much, because I felt like when I was doing stuff like that, people didn't appreciate how many of the same fucking thing I had to make over and over again. And they'd be like, yeah, how come it's not done yet? I'm like, how come it's not done yet? Are you fucking kidding me? This is all day, every day. It's fucking wild.
Fucking day.
Yeah. Oh God. But it's so cool. I wanted to ask you, because you were talking about, I was mentioning before, because again, I never know how much my manager tells, or whenever the guest is on, I'm like, do they know I'm a comedian? I have no idea. They think I'm some asshole on a jacket, which I am. But you know what I mean? But it's weird. But for comedians, they always say 5 years you find your voice. You know what I mean? Or maybe a couple times longer. I've never asked a musician this or a singer this. Is it the same kind of thing? When do you find your voice? And is it always changing, or do you know who you are right away?
I think it's something that's always changing. To me, we we've kind of brushed on anxiety. I think my anxiety is kind of a stunt double at times for like some
Nice.
ambition, like kind of go hand in hand. Who knows?
Okay.
But for me, like it's very, very important to grow, yes, but to like I want to listen to my music. I want to
Ah,
make shit that I'm inspired by and that feels like when something just satiates while you're recording, like to me, that's like the sign I'm on the right track. And I think I've just kind of found myself, only in hindsight have I seen a growth and a change and stylistically, like just going back and forth between genres, because I think that's what people should do if they want
yeah.
to and if it feels right. So I think it is like a thing for me personally. It's something that I think it's just constantly changing.
Nice. Are
Yeah,
you do you move on from projects and from like your past work, or do you go back and go, I think I can make that better now? Or
absolutely. I
nice.
love doing that. I
That's
really
awesome.
do. I think, you know, live shows aren't my, touring's not my favorite thing, but I
Mhm.
do think that after touring for so many years, there's something really beautiful about the process. Only looking back, it hasn't been a beautiful process in it, but
Right.
it's really created like a versatility that I don't think that I know I wouldn't possess.
Right.
A rolling with the punches, yes, but also just my ear getting tired of hearing the same song the same way every single night.
Right.
And I'm fortunate enough to play with like just dope musicians, and everyone's always game and has been game to try out just new different things on the same song.
That's awesome.
Which is usually pretty easy to do because I'm usually a 3-chord kind of gal. So
How
we
does
can really maneuver with that.
do you I mean, I'm sure by now your fans and your audience are kind of used to like, okay, we're gonna go to this concert, which is gonna change shit up on us, and that's great. Was it something that you thought of in the beginning when you were about to go live? Where you're like, oh man, should I do my music exactly how they know it, or should I change it up? Am I gonna lose them? Like, what's the mindset?
No, no. I think it's just a fine mixture, and also like I mean, I know what I'm going to play when I go in before a show,
Yeah.
but if I'm changing something up, it's usually I try to be extremely intentional about everything. I am impulsive,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to like live shows, I'm extremely intentional to a gross degree.
Right. when it's like when you're obviously in the record studio and you're producing your music and we're getting it ready for an album, it's gonna be, everything's gonna be a little different than when you're doing it live. Do you have to consciously decide which songs you're going to preserve? Like I'm thinking like more like notes that you have to hit that you obviously know you're hitting on an album, but if you have to do it night after night after night, like, do you have to think about that always ahead of time? Like, okay, this is going to wreck me if we're doing on a wide city tour kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, is it hard? Okay, that's because I always wonder that, because I love, I love hearing it on the album, stuff like that too. But I kind of like watching it live and figuring out, oh man, like you can tell like she's not doing it. She did it in a different way.
Preservation, yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a whole other skill just in that, I think. I mean, honestly, the prep work that goes into it is my favorite part about touring.
Okay.
Thinking about the songs as like a whole, like the transitions, just those details in between, like so with that, like that being said, like I also know what my tours are like, and we're like I'm not in a bus, I'm in
Right.
a 15 passenger, and guess who's driving that bitch? Me. Guess how long I've slept? 3 hours maybe.
Yep.
And I gotta work the merch table after. Woo!
Right.
I ain't hitting those high notes.
Yeah. No, I understand completely.
I choose my 30 to 40 minutes wisely.
Yep. No, it's cool though, man.
Yeah.
I love that that all that prep and stuff that you have to do beforehand. There's a lot. That's the thing that people don't really see or understand, that there is a lot of stuff that goes around in the background when you're deciding to go on tour and stuff.
Oh, don't get me started. Yeah.
Did you miss
Yeah.
it like terribly though? Like when you were right away when COVID hit, or did you enjoy the kind of downtime as much as anybody could with all that shit going on? But like,
No, I definitely missed it in a way that was unexpected. There are those shows that I'm like, man, that was really great. And I think it's just because I get it in small doses. And also,
yeah.
I think everyone that is coming out to a show and the person playing the show has felt a gratitude that most certainly did not exist before any of this. So it just kind of brings a new perspective into the whole shebang. So, you know, the last tour I did was with this amazing artist, Torres. She's also based out of New York. And I had the most fun. Like, so much fun. Actually, the last 2 tours I've done were great. They really just revived hope for me. And that had everything to do with the artist I was out with, but also just the gratitude. Like I said, it just was not there before. And it is weird. The music landscape is, she's a little fucked, but I mean, that's what it is. That's why we're here. Like, we gotta like figure out a way, and we will.
Yeah.
We actually recently had on Noel Hogan, right, from the Cranberries, and he was saying how the years of doing that, like traveling around in a bus together and doing everything, were his favorite. Like, looking back,
yes,
were the best.
It's always real sweet, and but I mean, like, who? I mean, I'm trying to think, and there are so seldom moments where I've like really enjoyed the moment in the moment. It's always, or most of the time, through the lens of like, man, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that situation changed my life. I mean, no one ever sees that when you're in it. It's always like, I mean, I'm a pro at like whining. I'm a whiner. I'm a whiner. So
no, I understand completely. I have you know, I have a bag that I travel with or whatever. Not to brag, but I do travel with luggage. I'm super like aware of everything I'm saying tonight, and I don't know why, but I'm like, oh, John, shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said it like that. So, but yeah, I do. So I have this. I don't even want to finish this.
Is it a rolly bag or is it a carry-on?
ShopRite bag.
Yeah. Come on,
it's a ShopRite bag. No, it's a
IKEA bag.
The good hand.
It's a leather duffel that I thought would be cool at one point, and then I was like, this is kind of impractical. But anyway, it's got engraved. I love Kurt Vonnegut, so it's got this thing on it. One of his quotes. It's basically and I urge you to notice or exclaim or murmur at some point, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. And I always think that because I'm the same as you. I would always go, God, I fucking hate this hotel. Oh my God, the drive is so long. You know, find something or whatever. And then sometimes I'd be like, I'm gonna look at the fucking quote and just try to go, man, like, you know, that. Yeah. And it would kind of center me a little bit. I mean, I still
just look at your bag.
Yeah.
Right? Every time you're feeling down, just look over at your bag.
That's great that you do. I'm starting a country career. So I'm really trying to get those emotions out of the surface. None of this is making
next
it
to your boots on the porch. Next to smushed Siggy.
God. That's exactly it. I got my dog and my lost love. But the only woman I'll ever, it's just a picture of a girl that comes with a wallet. I'm like, she's sweet. Everyone's like, is it okay? Everyone's like, no. Yeah, it's not a real girl. It's not okay.
You've been following her for a while.
Yeah. She's got an Instagram account. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, it's just, I don't, like, I know what you mean though. It is weird. Like I'm a person who takes a lot of photo. Like I love, you know, because it's always better when you look back. But I know people who don't take fucking anything. And then, you know, I'm like, how do you do that? Like, how do you remember, like, you know, just, I don't know. I have a picture of my first hotel room that I got when I started doing stand up on the road. And I'm like,
Well, that's
Yeah, and I don't know.
cool.
I mean, by the way, I have no idea why I have it, but it was, back with real cameras. So I had like an actual. I was just looking through photos one day, and I was like, "This is a fucking empty room," and I was like, "Oh, this is the
You'll
hotel."
be seeing more of those. Don't worry. There'll be plenty of time.
I know, and it's, by the way, the fucking great thing about that photo is it's a shithole, that place. like I was like, who would? But it meant, obviously, it meant something to me at the time. So
The last tour I did, I just like hotels.com'd the whole thing. And this one hotel that we stayed in, and then the Torres band stayed at this hotel as well. They were like, where are you guys staying tonight? And I told them. And so we were all there. And we get there, and it is, from what I gather, it's like the shit you see in dreams. It just doesn't make sense. It was in a water park at one point in time, and I guess they just closed that bitch right up.
Wow.
And when Rob and I walked in, I was like, it feels like jungle environment in here. It feels like humid. And my room had like a window to the hallway, and then there was a window outside of the hallway. So I was just like, oh, they really boxed us in. And on the other side, this is where it gets wild, was a water park.
Wow.
So we were indoors in an indoor water park, but it was just like a dome.
wow.
So the, hotels.com really.
Yeah.
They really pulled one on us.
That's our sponsor, by the way. So guys, if you can.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
That would have been great.
Shout out to Hotels.com. You really fooled me. I was like, oh shit.
It was a great stay. I need you.
I really wish we had like a fake commercial to just slide on in front of you real quick. Hotels.com.
Or for Dorney Water Park.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Oh, and my ceiling almost caved in because it rained and I was inside of a water park.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was doing this club in Poughkeepsie once, and they put me up in a hotel, and you're driving, so you're tired. So I wasn't really paying too much of attention. So I get my room key, I get in, I go inside, I pass out for a couple hours before the show. I get up, I go to take a shower, I go to turn the faucet on, and it just makes the and I was like, oh, that's fucked up. I was like, oh my God, there's no water. So I go to make a phone call, and there's no dial tone, and I was like, odd. And then I like flicked on the switch, the hotel switch, and there's no power, and I was just like, oh my God. Like
waiting for Jason.
I know. I was like, is this place fucking haunted? And then I realized I hear no noise down the hallway, nothing. So I like open the door and I look, and it's also dark. So I like called from I didn't want to leave the room because I didn't know what the fuck was going on, right? So I'm immediately like, Walking Dead, zombie apocalypse. So I call the front desk and I'm like, hey, I had no water or electric or phone in my room. And they were like, what room are you in? And I was like, oh, it's B whatever. And they were like, oh, sorry, dude, that whole area is under renovation. We didn't mean to. And I was like, what the fuck?
They put you in like
they put me in the room that was going to be bulldozed, or like a fucking wrecking ball was going to come through.
It would have been better if they would have been like, that room doesn't exist.
Yeah, that room. Yeah, exactly. If they like fucked with
there is no B12.
If you see a woman in a white dress floating down the hallway, run. Do not engage. Yeah, but I was like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm a fucking comedian, but oh my God, like put me in a decent room. Yeah. But there's a bunch of shit like that. I was in New Hampshire in this one place, and usually I perform there a bunch, nice club, but they were actually renovating the really nice hotel they used to put us in. So they're like, oh, there's this great place in Maine. And I was like, Maine? I'm bad with geography too. So I'm like, Maine. And they're like, super close. Like it's New Hampshire, Maine. It's like right over so you're just going to drive. I swear to fucking gods, it was Deliverance style, like hotel wood shit. And the funny thing is he didn't even do that to me on purpose. He really just he thought he was putting me in an okay place. No. And I couldn't close the curtain. Like it literally, I went to close the room thing and it stopped here. I actually, there's like a video of me on.
Someone's pulling one on you.
I was like, he sent me to him. I'm like, if you don't want me to perform here, just don't fucking have me back again. Like don't try to murder me. And then, and I the latch wouldn't lock on my door, and something else was fucking busted.
Did you stay there?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm one of those idiots that's like, I don't want to coast, even though like I totally should fucking say something, but I was like, no, it's all right. And I also thought it'd be hilarious to talk about it on stage the next day, which I did, and he felt really bad and then put me somewhere else. But I was just like, no, it's gonna be if I survive the night. And then I was texting one of the waitresses at the club, and she was like, I just Googled the place that you're at. Do you want me to show you the reviews? And I was like, no. And then she did anyway, and it was like, dude, I don't even want to tell you. It was fucked up.
Man.
Yeah.
Now,
So
see, I'm a very glass half full kind of person. So I feel like both of those experiences to me would have been like, hey, I made a real memory here. Like, I'll never remember the normal room I was in, but the water park, the crazy deliverance room, those are going to live with you forever.
Yeah.
True.
I appreciate
This is
that
true.
stuff. I really do.
yeah,
Yes.
I took some of the fleas home, so it was
I was
nice.
just about to say,
No, I'm
as
just
long as there are no bed bugs involved.
Yeah, there wasn't any bed. I would have. I did flip I did the whole like weird anal bed bug search thing,
Oh my
flip the
God.
mattress and shit. Yeah,
It's very invasive to the bed bugs.
yeah.
They don't like that shit.
No, they don't. Have you ever
They
slept in
don't
your
like
car?
Yes.
Were you asking me? Or?
Yes,
Yeah, of
you.
course.
No.
Really?
Oh wow, nice.
I did. No. I take that back. I used to drive an Astro van.
Oh,
And that was pretty dope because the
Very
very,
cool.
very back laid out into a full size bed.
oh,
On trips, that was great. But she was temperamental, that Astro van. She didn't run very long. I probably spent triple on just trying to keep it running. And I was like,
man.
this is maybe the dumbest way I could possibly spend my money.
But that had to be so cool, though. I look like I sleep in a van, but I've never slept in a van before, like ever. Like, and I really would like to. I need to do.
It
That's like a
was
bucket
so
list.
comfy, cozy, like grandmother's living room, like velvet
Wow.
interior, like like the warm carpet smell. It just like
Yeah.
you get in the van and you go night night. That's what you do. It had the flip down DVD. I was set.
Oh, that is so
That's
fucking
pretty sweet.
badass. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
My buddy in high school had an old 70s van, and one of my friends was drunk, and she exited the van while it was still moving. Not full speed, but like we were like on her street dropping her off. We were all having a good time, and he was driving, and she jumped the gun. She just
Side
thought
door,
it was
back door.
side door.
Wow.
We were all sitting there, and he's driving us all home. We all had a good time out at the boardwalk because we're shore trash. And then we were like, we're on your street, you're almost home. And I guess she just took that as a
Shore
like
trash.
you're home. And all of a sudden, I remember like it was like played out in slow motion in my head because she did just get up, and I think I was like, no. And then she just opened the door and stepped out and went boom, 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 boom. And we were just like, what the fuck just happened? She was
Tucked and rolled.
That's some Jersey shit if I ever heard it.
It's so sad but true. It is, yeah. And then we were like, oh, I guess, and we let she, she was fine. We let her. We were like,
Rolled her
right?
ankle. She was good.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Oh God, yeah, it's good shit. I
just went the last tour. Also, I went to what part of Jersey are you from?
I'm from Toms River, New Jersey. I live in
Okay.
LBI now.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
LBI is farther south. Toms River is. You know where Seaside Heights is?
Yes.
Yeah. So Toms River is the town you drive right through to get to the fun part. You drive. As I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, oh, this sounds pretty shitty. It is. Toms River is a nice town unless you've been to other towns. That's basically
It's the
where I
town you
grew up.
drive through.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then there's the bridge and then Seaside Heights. So yeah, that's where I live.
Okay. Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Man.
Have you ever been to perform at like Asbury and stuff? At
I
Stone
played
Pony?
Asbury Park. Loved
Nice.
it.
Yeah, it's great there.
Loved it. We went to that. What's the name of that arcade that's there
Oh,
on the boardwalk?
Yeah. Oh, holy shit.
Wonder Bar?
What is it?
Wonder
It's
Bar.
right by Wonder Bar, right?
It's right by the Wonder Bar.
Pinball,
It's,
the Pinball Museum.
Yes, but what is that? What is it called?
I'm gonna look it up right now because I'm blanking on the name of it. Been there a million times.
It's got like the famous Jersey face on it.
Silver Balls? Is it called Silver Balls?
Yes, that's it. Retro Silver Bar Retro Arcade. That's it.
Come to Silver Balls.
I didn't know you spoke Jersey.
Yeah.
That's great.
I also my girlfriend and I are almost done with The Sopranos. We waited forever for everyone else to finish.
Nice.
And
Yeah, that's a
we've
long
just
wait.
been zooming through it.
Nice. Do you like it?
Oh my God. So involved. I'm so involved.
It's a great
Edie Falco. I mean,
she's so good. So good. Everything she does is good though.
Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole show's amazing. We're almost done. So don't give
no spoilers. No
away.
spoilers.
I was like, I literally in my brain was like, okay, so don't talk about any of it because you can't. So, but yeah, it's great. It's a great show.
You know what's weird about that show is that's like my comfort show. So like I would watch it to go to bed at night. Like it puts me to sleep. My wife,
I could see how that happened. Yeah,
right?
It's something you can kind of like walk away from, but still.
Yeah, and pick right
like
back up wherever you were at.
I'm sorry, are gunshots your ASMR?
That's what my wife said. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" Because if she goes to bed, she dreams whatever is playing around in the background, so she can't do it. So I have had to adapt, and now we watch Friends. That's what I fall asleep to now. Horrible.
What a sweet and sad ending.
You're right. It's all right. It's all right. It happens.
Friends is good.
Yeah.
It's also a rewatcher. You could rewatch that. I could fall asleep to some Friends.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
Friends, Arrested Development.
Yes.
Do you have like a top 5 for like comfort shows, like shows that you'd watch no matter what?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all about you.
Tom, go ahead.
We talk to each other enough.
Yeah. This is all
I
you.
was thinking like, seems like that's something you guys would know.
No.
But go
all
on.
my questions
I'll
are directed
listen.
at you.
Tom, your top 5.
That would be a great like reverse kind of show where you have a guest on, but the
we just
hosts talk
ignore
to each other.
Oh,
that'd be fucked up.
That would be great.
I don't know. I'd really have to think about that. And the rest of your show would just be me thinking, which I'm game for, but
it's just weird because I feel like that people got into like severe like COVID rituals or pandemic stuff where we're like, I'm gonna watch everything I love in a month, and then it didn't clear up, and we were like, I got nothing. There's nothing else to do.
So much good television came out.
Yeah,
just this last year. I loved Righteous Gemstones. Okay, here we go. I'm getting in the flow. I'm going.
So good.
Righteous Gemstones, fantastic.
Yep.
I think my favorite show within the last year though has been. Did y'all watch Hacks?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So good.
Great show.
Yeah.
Great show. Good writing. Good cast.
Yeah.
Did you find similarities? You're a comedian. Was it similar? Hey, I know a comedian. God, I just did the thing that people do.
No, I love this. That's so great.
A gay lady.
Yes, to answer your question, of course. Yeah, there's so many. It's kind of one of those things. I was really glad I was able to still, because I know some comics who cannot detach themselves from like, the fact that they're a comedian and like watching everything meticulously and like they don't laugh at shit. I love watching stuff like that and kind of separating myself from it. Yeah, there was a shit ton of similarities. And
really?
What's crazy is I kind of like, I would call my friends who are also watching it who are comedians and be like, okay, are they talking about so-and-so? Because I think they might be.
I love that television is just like alluding to all these fuckers and lurking behind the scenes or sometimes very much in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I wonder who that was as well. I know exactly who you're talking about, and I think it was.
I think so, right. I 100. I called a few people because we were all like checking with each other. Like, I'm all right. Are we on here? Is this it? This is what we're talking about.
Who else could it be?
I agree. I know.
Tom, do you know what we're talking about?
So cryptic you guys are. We're going to talk about this off air because I can't do that, I think. Usually John is calling people out left and right, so it has to be somebody really good.
Dane Cook.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, too, is I was just about to say, I know there's people who watch who have not seen the show yet. So I was like, I'm trying to be TV respectful because I'm definitely not. I've burned a numerous amount of bridges by just ripping people apart who are assholes already. I'm like, because people are like, I don't want to say who it is. And I'm like, fucking say it. Just say it. Just say it on there. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. No, they were talking. Yeah, Dane Cook. It had to be.
In show, mic drop.
That's great. Yeah, I watched that. I watched that at the Righteous Gemstones another one too, and I got way too into. Not way too into. I'm always a big horror fan, but I really like got into more of the documentary shit where like people are breaking into your homes and like
No,
that
the
kind of
best
shit.
one. Did you watch the one with the bomb around the neck?
Oh,
Did we
that's
even
it.
talk about this?
Evil. I told you about it. Yeah,
You put
evil.
me onto it.
Evil
Genius. Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Good.
Oh,
So
I'm
good.
So good.
Thank you for
I
being.
eat those up.
Me too.
I'm like fucking con artists. Eat it up. Like,
Yep.
Have you seen Sneaky
Maniac-
Pete?
Oh,
No.
So good.
Yeah.
Get on that.
Sneaky
Amazon
Pete?
Prime. Sneaky
Mhm.
Pete. It's what's his face from Boiler Room that I love. That's incredible. He has a great name too, and I can't think of it.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name now too. But yeah, Sneaky
Great
Pete's fucking awesome.
actor with a great name.
Yeah, he was in Boiler Room.
Cumberbatch.
That is another great name. I'm not gonna lie. We could just rattle off great named actors.
Yeah. Just taking a shot in the dark here.
Galifianakis, Estevez, Goldblum.
It's Giovanni.
Oh, Giovanni Ribsby.
That's a Chili's entree.
There you go.
No, that is. I think that's right. Yeah, that's a great
Some
one.
names
I'm
make
so
you
glad you're the only
hungry.
guest we've had on who's seen Evil Genius. Because I
Really?
always say, I'm like, have you
asked that of every guest. John.
Oh,
It's
well, not
150
the
guests.
only guest, but when I
Did
brought
you
it
ask
up.
Lady Hawk? Had she seen it?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have. I brought it up to like 6 guests, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, bomb around the neck. Even I don't know. I think it was Brian. You know Brian Fallon from Gaslight Anthem.
No.
Okay, so Brian
Sorry.
was another one where he and I are around the same age. And I was like, dude, when we were in high school, remember that story about the guy with the bomb?
I don't remember that shit.
Oh,
I don't remember that.
Well, because Jersey and Pennsylvania is so fucking close that
yeah.
it was like a Geraldo thing. So like he was like on top of it and shit, and we were like, whatever, guy.
That twisted my head. I felt so bad. I couldn't even watch it. Like when oh man.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it.
That shit was wild.
It was. And
wild.
The fact that they were like people you definitely could have lived next to. Like that's what fucks me up. Is that I'm like, oh, they're just creeps that I probably have in my neighborhood.
Man, there's been so many shows just in the last 2 years that are talking about. I mean, there's several fairly new ones. The one about I'm blanking on their name, but this is like new. It's still going on. About God, I'm blanking. Oh, the guy and his wife that did the WeWork spaces.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about?
God, yes.
Yeah,
that is.
Oh, that shit is so good.
Yeah, it's really good. That is fucked up.
It's so salacious, and it's one of those things that I'm like, like the same with the Bernie Madoff.
Oh, Bernie Madoff thing is nuts.
Lies upon lies upon lies. It is something that I cannot turn away from, and I am full on addicted to.
Did you watch the one about the German heiress?
Convincing Anna.
Convincing Anna.
Yeah, I've seen it all.
Oh, me too.
What about the Tinder swindler guy? I watched that one recently.
Seen it.
I don't know that one.
Wait, no, I don't either.
Okay.
It's this guy.
Sorry, I was just like, come on, fastball. Seen it, done it.
Did it. Do it tomorrow.
Watching it now. Next question.
One with Charlize Theron, monster. Can't think of her name, but who was that one?
She lost 20 pounds for the role. Next question. Wait, is it called the Tinder?
It's called a Tinder swindler. It's this guy who would act like he's super rich and wealthy, and then destroy women and get a ton of money from them, and then use that money to look like a billionaire with the next woman, and like just kept doing it. Bop, 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 bop,
wow.
the whole way.
How does one find the time? When you listen to those stories, you're like, this person never slept. They can't sleep.
Yeah,
insane.
Exactly. This is how I know, I mean, among other ways, but this is how I know I'm fucking stupid, right? Because like these people have like, no social skills, no family connections, they're always super awkward, but they're like, like they're making shit happen for them. They write, like even like, I mean, I'm Italian, even like when I see mafia people who are like people in my family, morons, you know what I mean? Who are just like, can't spell, can't write, don't know how to fucking talk, but they handle money and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, right. It is.
I'm gonna make John tell a story because this is one of my favorite stories.
Oh no.
The story with your dad.
Which the one with the cement truck or the one with the building? Yeah.
They're both good. You can tell them both of them, but the cement truck's my favorite.
All right, I don't want to. All right, so my dad's not he's he's there. He's not the greatest guy, whatever.
He's a
but
nice
he's
guy,
nice.
go ahead.
He's in you like him if you met him. So but he's basically like he's out of he's 74, so he's in like a rehab kind of thing right now. He's older and stuff, so he's not doing any of this shit anymore. But when he was younger, he's a bit of a con artist. So he did like money at one point. He always needed money. And we grew up on 40th Street in Brooklyn, and it's a cement truck, and it's filling in like the stoop, all the stuff in people's front yards, their driveways. And so my dad sees the cement truck and needs like money, like $500 or something, climbs up the back end and climbs down the front of it because he notices this guy talking about wanting his done. So he climbs down, and the guy approaches my dad. And he's like, hey, when are you going to do mine needs to be repaved and blah, blah. And my dad goes, look, we're working on this, guys. But I'll tell you what, as soon as we get done, it'll be real quick. I'll do it. Just give me like $500. Guy goes back inside, gives him $500. And of course, my dad takes it and fucks off. And then the guy who actually does the cement truck comes back, packs everything up. And the guy who's my dad promised he would do his front yard was like, hey, what are you doing? I gave your buddy $500. You said you were going to finish the job. He goes, I don't have a partner. Like, what are you talking about? And they're just like arguing in the street. Yeah. And everybody on 40th Street knew my dad's gone.
So good.
The other one it's crazy. The other one is
it's so quick.
It's
so quick.
It is. It's very quick. And then he's, and nobody had cell phones or Facebook back then. So what are you going to do? Another one is there was a empty building. My dad made face business cards and sold the building to a couple for a lot of money and then pieced out, and then also threw himself a gigantic party and spent because I was asking his brothers this, and I was like, well, I don't understand, why is he fucking broke? And they'd be like, oh, because your dad never kept any of the money he stole. like he would
just spend
get it and spend it like fucking whatever, like Robin Hood in the neighborhood or whatever, and did that, and that was it. There was a bunch of shit he did when I was a baby. Like
that's some like Catch Me If You Can shit.
It was, yeah.
Watch the Sneaky Pete show. You will enjoy it. I promise.
I will.
On Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's a good show. Yeah. It's good shit. But that's my
Amazon Prime.
We're doing one about my dad. No, it's
I would love to have your dad on as a guest and like talk about all these stories. I bet he has a million fun stories.
He does have a million fun stories, but he also doesn't know how to work. He doesn't even know there's computers. He thinks this is magic. He thinks I'm a wizard.
When you're
That's what I tell him. I'm like, he saw Harry Potter once, and I'm like, check out what I could do with this phone.
I can see it. I can see you being a wizard.
I told Tom the other day, it was his birthday, and I took him out to eat, and for shits and grins, I was like, hey, I'm going to interview you and ask you some questions. And I think one of the questions I asked him, I was talking about his kids. He's been married a couple times before we met my mom. He had 3 other children, one who doesn't speak to him anymore. Her name is Sherry. She lives in, I don't know, I've never met her. And then there's my 2 half brothers. And then I made some kind of snide remark, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. I was like, and then you had me. And I was like, did you even want kids? And he just looks at me and he goes, I had them. And I was just like,
thanks, Dad.
What a fucking asshole. It just made me, because he was just like, I had them. Like, he thinks it's a legitimate answer. I was like,
well, you're here, aren't you?
Yeah. He's like, well, you're here and you should be thanking me, as I'm buying him fucking dinner. Anyway, yeah, that was nice. I got a good segue question. How were your parents when they found out that you were going into music? Were they cool with it?
They were always really, really supportive. I mean,
Nice.
I can't really think of a time where it felt like they wanted me to do something else. I think that they were probably very concerned, but I was so deep into knowing that music was what I wanted to pursue
Nice.
from the jump, that any concerns that they might have had, I didn't see.
Oh.
But anytime I'm in Texas or doing like a one-off show near them, they always come. They turn up. They're super, super cool. Not always been the case. Like they were very different growing up, but I think when my sister and I were just old and they saw that they were that they were done, that their job was done. They just relaxed a little bit, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
It kind of makes sense to me. I see it now. They we were super like really raised very religious. And that shit is damaging, but I think that they just did the best that they could, and we really lucked out in the end. They're cool people, but yeah, definitely not the same people I grew up with.
Oh wow!
So what if I just started weeping?
That's what we work towards.
We would have clipped it and obviously sent it over to TMZ. Why? What would you...
horrible and true.
No.
So wait, I have a quick question too.
Yeah.
So now, if they were super religious, was it tough? Was your lifestyle tough to like breach with them? Like, was that harder than music? Was music like?
No, I mean, as far as like, I mean, I was just in church till I was like 18. So I don't even think I became a full human. I didn't even really snap out of it or even realize, I mean, let alone my sexuality. I didn't even realize like who I was for probably till now. You know, like that shit takes a while.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Honestly, like when I look back at it, I'm mainly uncomfortable at how, do you ever look back at your childhood and you're like, or just your adolescence as a whole, and you're like, ooh. It just seems like
I think everybody
a few
does that.
People ago. Like
yes.
A few.
That's a good way to look at it, because I was explaining it to friends. I started this private Instagram page.
Because you're a celebrity and a comedian.
Because that's so, oh man, that you just made that sound so much douchier than I intended it to, and I love it. That's such a great position to put me in, because it does sound like, when I just said it like that, I have to work on my phrasing. So but like, because I was the guy who was always taking photos of like my friends and I and all this shit, but I have all this crap and I don't know where to put it. Hard drives and actual real photos, right? And nobody looks at albums anymore. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna create this page for us and just throw all this awkward shit, all the photos from like middle school up or whatever. And one of my friends was like, oh, isn't it kind of awkward? Like you're posting like photos of you and like this ex-girlfriend I had when I was like 19. And I was like, well, first of all, I'm not Thanos. I'm not going to fucking snap her out of it. You know what I mean? Like it happened, like, or whatever. And no, because I just think of that person as somebody else. It's weird. Like me, like when I'm younger, it's just like, I don't identify, like, it's cool. I remember what he used to be like. And I, whatever, but I don't have that, like, I don't know. I don't have that weird connection.
It's just yes, I think that it's just, being a different person, it's really hard for me to like plug back into that wall. So it's just, I'm like, I don't really know like how high school was. I just kind of glazed through it.
Yeah.
Truly. I remember so little about that time period.
Wow.
I mean, I remember like my close friends, but yeah, it just was, I think I'm really, really grateful. I'm on one hand, very, very grateful for having that, but it is also strange. It's hard to make the link sometimes when you have like when you grow up so religious, how much of the shit later in life is just like tied to that.
Right.
Just all sorts of stuff. We won't get into it. We won't.
That's the juicy part. You're like glancing right over it.
Yeah. Like, were y'all raised religious? You're looking at me like I'm telling a ghost story, which is similar.
You know what's funny is I'm very like, all right, so I do the right thing. Like I'm all about like doing unto others as I'd want done unto me. But my mother is more like into church, where she's like her biggest regret is she didn't instill like religion in me more. But I'm like, but I do the things Jesus would do. I think I'm in good shape. Yeah, so I feel like I do the right thing. Like I'm always the one. I don't speak bad about anybody. I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I'm all about that type of life. But I think she regrets that I'm not more religious. But that's funny to me because I feel like, isn't religion just that? Like no matter what religion it is?
I think it's like insurance for a lot of people. It's just like, well, the biggest pieces of shit I've ever met in my life were like going to church on Sundays. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I think it has less for some people. I don't know. I think, your goodness matters, but it's just like, it's your soul.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you're worried about who I fuck and my soul.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you know, like it doesn't make sense, but I think it's just
my
about
dad's
having,
family
like,
was
some
like
sort of
that.
insurance.
Yeah.
Oh,
My
they
dad's
were?
family was like, well, they were very much like it does, you know, always the gold
Italian
chain
Roman Catholic.
crosses, Italian shit. You know, I was born in Brooklyn, so I'm from Brooklyn. My whole
Yeah.
family was from Brooklyn, but they did that kind of shit where they would go to church, everything funeral related. Obviously, they always think people are going to fucking, you know, heaven or hell or whatever it is, but they would rob, steal, fucking curse off, you know, all of the most heinous fucking shit. And then as soon as they got a little older, closer to death, or somebody else was, you know, they were the type of people that would rob you and then drive by a church and do the sign of the cross because, you know, they would do that kind of shit. And I could never reconcile it in my head, so it seemed like bullshit. My mom's not really like that too much, although she still says she's Catholic. Doesn't understand why I don't say it, but she still says she's Catholic. But she's the one who took me out of CCD because she thought what they were teaching me was bullshit. So like I was in it for a little bit. I had to make communion. Never made what's the wine one?
I'm like
I almost said commission, but I was like, that's not it. Because
you got to make it commission.
Got to make commission. Whatever the wine one is.
Per diem.
And so, but I never did that. And then because, you know, I don't know, some whack job. Confirmation. Yeah. I went to CCD for a bit, and then, but I was one of the ones who was asking too many questions, and then they just started rattling shit off. And my uncle was studied anthropology, so he'd like, I talked to him after, and be like, "That's fucking bullshit. That's a bunch of lies. No, they didn't have that. You know what I mean? Like, no, they didn't ride dinosaurs. You know, so like all kind of shit. Where he would just be like,
Bible were you reading? Riding dinosaurs?
Oh, dude, they would make up shit all the time in CCD. You know what I mean? Like, I think I asked when I was a kid why there aren't any unicorns, and she was like, "Because Noah let them drown." And I was like, "That's fucked up." And then they were like, "There's no unit." Like, Jesus Christ. But anyway,
what a wild fucking story they've all sold us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all fucking bullshit.
No, like I'm very like, all right. So I had this conversation all the time with my brother-in-law, who's a like atheist hardcore, right? But comes from a religious family. And like we'll have the conversation, and I'm like, listen, maybe they just need a way to quantify, right? I'm like, because he's very science-based. So I'm like, to me, it might just all be perspective, right? Like we could both see something and it's the same thing, but we need to quantify it differently. So I think like when they say God, it could be energy. God is everywhere, energy is everywhere. Yeah. You know, God is in us, energy's in us. Like it, you know, it all makes sense to me, but I'm like, it's just the way you look at it. But he'll argue tooth and nail with somebody that is religious because like, nope, stories, all stories. So I'm like, maybe if you step back and just give them, all right, I guess they look at it like this, I look at it like that.
That's a good way to put it, like quantifying it. I mean, it makes sense when I think about like the idea of like just really wanting to believe that like one has a purpose, like guilty, who doesn't? But it's just like what narrative you're like choosing to follow, which is like a faith base, which I'm like, no time for that. We need fact. Like,
agreed.
Fact, boo boo. Like, but I also understand like the like just wanting to be a part of something like that is so much greater than yourself, and like, ensures that like.
Yeah, I think we are though, right? I don't know. Maybe I sound like one of those crystal chicks, but
I don't.
Like, I think
no, you're not a crystal chick, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you're not. I've dated a few of those. Trust me, you're not. I've fallen under that. You know, whatever.
You're on a thin line, buddy.
Yeah.
Next stop, crystals.
Yeah. I dated this one girl who used to spray shit on the pillow and be like, it helps us sleep at night. I'm like, I'll tell you a couple things that will help me sleep. And whatever the fuck you just put on my pillow is not one of them. I have allergies.
They do help you sleep though.
Do you think so?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe the spray, it's like the sense or whatever, but I don't know about, do you have like a glowing thing?
What do you mean?
You know, like what are those crystals that glow at night that are supposed to give you good?
Oh, like the salt lamp?
Is that what it is? Yeah, salt lamp.
Like glow. Yeah.
Do they work?
One of them.
Do they work?
I mean, no.
But it looks nice. I don't care if it looks nice. I just, exactly. I've got a bunch of crap that looks nice. Well, not really. I'm like,
who am I to say that crystal or whatever doesn't work? I can't say that.
I don't know.
Like, maybe. As a kid, I've always been a weirdo, right? Like since I'm little. So like when I was little, I used to cry to my mother at night and to be like crying in bed, and my mother would come in the room and I'd be like, Mom, we're all gonna die. Crying, like hardcore crying. She's like,
seems
no.
pretty normal to me.
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, no, everybody's fine. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, you don't get it. We're all eventually gonna die. Like, yeah, I could, and to this day, I still have that thought. I don't cry as much, but like, it's still like I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know. Like, as a kid, I would be like, well, every religion acts like if you're not with them, you're burning, right, or whatever.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, only one of these religions could be right. So what do you do? I think it's a bad bet.
Colleges
right?
do the same shit. They're like, like guidance counselors in high school. Like, if you don't go to this college, you're gonna be pumping gas. You know what I mean? Like, so it's everybody's
Who wants
got
to be
their
anywhere forever.
yes,
No
exactly.
one.
Right.
No one wants to be anywhere forever.
I agree.
No one knows for sure
I agree.
till
That's a
you're
good point.
gone. And then it's too late.
I think the Buddhist stuff, I'm all about that. Like,
yeah, I mean, it all just comes down like
Good
just like you were
concept.
saying, like being good to each other. And
He
like,
seems to be eating healthy.
yeah.
Buddha, right? He seems to be
Wait, talking about Buddha's Delight when you order from yeah, it's all vegetables.
Absolutely.
Great.
No, but it is weird when you think about it. People are very dogmatic about some shit, and then they have like these weird rules that like clearly only hurt people and not them. And then there's everybody else who's just kind of spiritual and they're having a good time and they're like, yeah, it's all love. And you're like, I like that. Can we do that? Can there be a building where we do that in?
Yeah, just bits and pieces of all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one's taking their son up to a hill to be murdered or
there go my plans.
None of that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It is fucking weird. Yeah, people are, I mean, I'm glad I know I have a bunch of friends. One of my friends is a Jehovah's Witness, and he grew up like it took a while for him and his siblings to kind of get out of it, but I think they all kind of did it in order, which is a really weird thing. Like the oldest broke away first, tried to kind of warn the others, and then the next one did the same thing, and then it got to him finally, and then he, peaced out, and that's it. But
that's a tough one, man. You can't have a birthday, you can't celebrate anything. I'm like, ugh, it's a rough one.
I know so little about.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I know. Yeah, I know so little.
Oh, you're gonna get to know them in Brooklyn. There's a watchtower. If you walk over the Brooklyn Bridge, you'll see it. They have like this giant building.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
You're right. I not know about the.
Oh yeah, you'll see it.
Really?
You can check out the Watchtower, but also stop at Grimaldi's. Really good pizza.
They do have great pizza there.
I'm not kidding. They're really, it's
We're gonna
really
come visit you in Brooklyn for like a
Come
food
on.
tour.
Don't make threats.
Tour. It'll be a good time.
Meet me at Duck Lake in 2 hours.
Oh, that's great. That'd be fun though. If you haven't had Grimaldi's yet, you got to go. It's so good.
I haven't.
Oh,
I haven't done a lot of things, sadly. I mean, the last year has been a little bit different, but
oh, sure.
Yeah.
I haven't broken in my glove, if you will. Like I haven't really seen much. Most of it's been in good old indoors.
I hear you. Yeah, I understand it completely. And now it's like we're starting to branch out for a little bit, and that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're different, but we're so animals. Like everyone's just like, out.
Yep.
And everyone's like, I'm creative again. I'm like, oh, we're all on the same fucking cycle together. Yep. No one is unique.
Yep.
No one.
It's like that. It's like the end of Mars Attacks when they come out of the cave for the first time, and it's just like,
oh, look at that.
Oh my fucking God. That was amazing. That's my favorite moment.
Bro, what?
Oh, I love that movie. I love you. I liked you before, but now
now I love you.
Now
I also haven't worn this shirt in a year, so something's going on.
That is nuts.
Universe. It's the universe. I'm telling you.
They wanted me to wear my Mars Attacks t-shirt for this bit.
This made me so fucking happy for this.
That
bit.
was weird. Honestly.
That was weird. Yeah. I just thought, I don't know what made me think of it. It just popped in my head when you said we're all kind of coming out. Like as soon as you did that little move, I was like, oh, it reminds me of Mars Attacks.
Whoa.
That is
and
nuts.
I also, I haven't seen that movie for a minute, but it's just springtime is always like, I mean, it's so nice. It's so nice that you could almost forget that the world is falling apart.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they do that. That's a shore town thing too, because even when there was like, severe COVID, as soon as it got a little warm out, people were still like on their boats
Yeah.
Fucking,
Going to the
you know,
Things are
like-
different now.
yeah, exactly. It
Mhm.
was all like on the beach and they were all doing shit. Well, they're all so beautiful. So I'm like, what are you you can't waste the beauty, right? You know what I mean? I can stay inside, but everybody else can go and have a good time. You know, is that one of those things where you're like, you ever do that when you just look at people and they're like, well, you probably, but you know what I mean? Where they're like, oh, well, they're hot and that makes sense. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, to me, that makes sense to me. When I was like, God,
No,
it was
she's a
actually
pretty
so-
person, John. She doesn't
No,
know
you want to
that.
hear?
She's
I
like,
just
"Yeah,
brought up this
I was
story.
gonna say she is.
A
And
couple
when I was-
years ago, someone told me that I looked like a hot Sarah Jaffe. And it
That's awesome, by the way.
still destroys me because I don't know. Do I just look like fucking ass 90% of the time? And then one time,
Wow.
fucking banging.
Oh, that's a
What did you
real
respond?
paradox.
Oh,
you
I
say,
think it was
"Nailed it"?
like, well, I am. Like something like that.
Yeah.
And I do remember the look on her face. She was horrified. She was absolutely
Oh.
horrified. Which then that was kind of confirmation to me that it was actually not a good thing.
Right.
She was like,
Oh.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But it's
But you
given
don't
me
photo well.
material to chew on for years.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. What a
It's
great opener.
savory. It just really just lets me be the self-deprecating human that I am. I just reflect on that moment.
I get it. I absolutely get it. It's
So
like,
didn't you want to just take her number to call her later? Like, let me let this
Man.
sink in so we can talk about this later because I don't get it.
It's wild. I mean, it is like a very that shit goes round and round. How do you
I
make
used to-
sense of that?
I used to wear contacts, and not all the time, but I used to wear contacts. And I had a friend tell me, they were like, I just switched from glasses to contact. And she was just like, I like you better with glasses. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is you don't like my face. like now that you could see more of it without like a distraction. Well,
God,
like,
people just really chiming in.
yeah, they just love it.
It's just best not to talk. Like,
Yeah.
if I see someone out, maybe like if you lost weight, you've gained weight, like maybe no. Maybe
Yes.
no. Don't touch. You don't know what's going on in the world.
Absolutely. I
You know?
completely agree. Yeah. You can talk about it after with
They
somebody.
bring it up. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's just for the ride home.
Exactly.
You guys are horrible.
No.
And it's after like a good 15 minutes, like, did you see? Like,
Absolutely.
did
Yeah.
you see that?
I had somebody walk up to me after a show and tell me that they're like, this woman was like, hey, just so you know, you're taller on Instagram. And I was like, well, it's not I don't even know what the fuck that means. I'm not
What
throwing
does
a
that
filter
even
on
mean?
there.
Great.
But yeah.
Fine.
I'm like, thanks, ma'am.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Like, I don't know. Taller on Instagram.
Now, could you give me a boost to get into my car?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, how dare you? Like, just need to hop over the
I
fence.
think I'm gonna start. What do you guys think of this idea? I've been sitting on it for a while. I'm gonna do a coffee table book that is like all
About coffee tables.
No, green room dicks. It's just like pictures of dicks, drawings. You've been in a green room. Pictures of dicks, all sorts of them, all over the walls. But mixed in with like horror stories, like just like merch table horror stories, like green room horror story, like from actual like band people or comedians
Performers, yeah.
Anyone that's seen a green room, really.
Yeah. That's a brilliant idea, and you need to do it.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Because you said green room dicks, and not only did my head fill with just people I fucking hate, but also then you were like, no, but on the wall, and I was like, oh my god, there's like a million green rooms with dicks drawn on the wall
everywhere.
Not wrong. Yeah.
No green room left unturned. They
Absolutely.
all have them.
Oh my
All
god,
of
that's
them.
that's a genius idea. I love that idea.
Most of like I'm gonna try to figure out how to like incorporate like merch table. Maybe there's also just
that's great because
They
merch
can go
tables
hand
where
in
most
hand,
of the stories happen because they get right up in front of you and then they say some shit like, "I thought you were hilarious. The rest of my table did not."
Yeah,
and you're like,
they can't help themselves.
It's backward.
cannot.
Yeah. No.
I wonder if you could track down like who this certain dicks belonged to and why they drew it in that fashion. Like,
You think they're drawing them accurately?
Wow, that's also a great idea.
That would be a little bit of research, but it would be amazing. Because there's definitely like repeat customers that you've seen in different Groom's like, that's the same one I saw in San Antonio. So you're like, this person's making the rounds. So I feel like that would be cool.
Just me choosing what my favorite dick in the room is.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Yeah, actually, that puts a little bit of more of an artistic spin on it because you're grading.
But then you're right about the artist, because then you got to give the artist cred.
Right.
It's true.
Damn, even if you just started an Instagram account and then
I'm looking for the least amount of work.
Oh, okay.
Least.
Oh man, if that isn't a fucking thing I want on my gravestone, I'm still looking for the least amount of work, guys.
Whatever I can do the least will be best.
Which room is better, heaven, hell? Yeah. What do I have to? Can I do 20 in hell? And,
yeah.
God, that's fucking great. Well, listen, you have another gig. You have a gig coming up that you're a live gig, right?
Yeah, I'm flying to Texas next week, and I have a show in Fort Worth, Texas.
Very nice. Where in Fort Worth? Let people know.
Funky town. I don't know where actually.
Okay.
Just Fort Worth, Texas.
Sweet.
It's an event called Arts Goggle, which I did a couple of years ago. It's really cool.
Oh, nice.
Art festival, Arts Goggle, say it.
Oh God.
I always think about the flyers when I hear the name, and I'm like, what's the flyer gonna look like?
Oh man.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to go back to Texas for a little bit. Fort Worth is always cool. Have y'all been to Fort Worth?
Not yet.
No. I've only driven through Texas I drove cross country and I drove through Texas to get to California, and I like maybe stopped to eat, and then that was it. And I wish I'd stayed, but I didn't get to hang out that long.
Wild state, man.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then it's back to NYC, baby.
Nice. Very nice. Was that like a goal to move to you wanted to get out of Texas, move to New York?
I think it was a goal when it became a goal. I lived in Texas for the majority of my adult life and love it. And I go back frequently. I love the people, that blanket my vision from the majority of Texas. Good people and phenomenal musicians, a lot of them that I just had a little community there, but I was not really growing. And I was also, I had just gotten divorced, and New York was always like the place that to me just resonated. Like it still does. It still resonates with me. There's just, she is exactly what she's showing you. She is fucking wild. And moving and constantly figuring out a way around things. It's just like a city that just constantly figured a way out.
Yeah.
In a very visible way that just resonates with me. And I think at the time I was feeling very scrappy and just like, let's do this shit. And it was the right move in every way. I love this city so much.
You can tell. I mean, it's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about like what people came here to do, to make a better way for themselves, for their families, like that is still very much like an energy that is felt despite, watching however many people take a shit on the side of the street. Like there's, it's chaos. At a lot of times it is like it's medieval at times. It's so wild.
In the last few days, I mean, craziness. I know. And what's weird is not that anybody should get used to it, but you're right. The city keeps moving because my friends, it was like one of those things where like, hey, okay, you're going to go about your day, keep in touch, let us know what's going on. But everybody just keeps going to work, keeps going to their next thing, and then that's it.
Well, I mean, at the top of COVID too, like,
sure.
I mean, they figured it out quick. They figured out a way for like New York to just keep kind of moving on this turnstile. Like it's still going. We're still figuring it out. And to me, this city is like the most concentrated form of like whatever else is going on. Like it's just a concentrated version of it. And so it really, honestly, it gave me hope the way that we fucking handled that shit. Cause we are stacked on top of each other.
Oh
But
yeah,
we figured it out.
absolutely.
We really did.
And the pots and the pans thing, I mean, when that was like the heat of it, you're right about the hope thing, because it was cool seeing
Yeah.
that stuff on social media and in videos and shit, and like, the city just kind of hanging in there.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
cool. I lived
And then I flew to Texas.
and then you flew. No, everybody kind of went back to like make sure
Yeah.
their parents were okay for shit and like
Yeah.
did whatever they could.
And then it's like it's just like doesn't exist. Like you can go
I know.
anywhere. It's fucking wild. Yeah.
Yep. My friend was
Yeah.
teaching in Texas, and she had to she came home eventually, like from the whole thing or whatever, to like get out of there, because it got to a point where she was like, no one's giving a fuck.
Man, it really just took a shit on teachers. It's insane.
Yeah, it was nuts. But I want to ask you the big 3 questions that we ask every guest on the show.
Give them to me.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
First question is, if you can go back in time and talk to your younger self, what piece of advice would you give yourself that would help you today?
Don't take yourself so seriously. Have some fun, and only seek out fun when you're playing music. That's the only reason you should be playing. Yeah.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
that.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Second second question is, what had to end in your life, good or bad, that led you to where you are today?
Ooh, a marriage.
Oh,
truly, it saved my life.
Wow.
Yeah, it saved my life.
And that's the one that led you to New York.
Yes.
Nice.
And I met the just love of my life, and I think everything. I would have never been here. I wouldn't have met like just unbelievable people, like the humans I've met. Like,
Nice.
I can't imagine not knowing them. So I think, yeah, the end of that chapter with that relationship was really the best fucking thing that could have ever happened.
Very cool.
I need
And
to
then-
re-dig in for a round 2 with you, because I feel like there's so much stuff that you like touched on like so lightly that I'm like, we need to go deeper on this.
Anytime, please, anytime. I love to talk, and I love to talk about me. So any fucking.
Well, then good, because I want to know, did it taint your kind of vision of marriage as a whole, or do you feel like new chapter, new thing? Are you open to it again?
I'm open to anything. I mean, I think there was a short-lived time after that ended that I just was like, no. But I'm kind of like a never say never person. You just don't know what, life will bring you. I think plain and simple, because I want to be careful about how I talk about that. We were just 2 people that just shouldn't have been together.
Sure.
That didn't make the process any less just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that shit again, and never again. I don't want to do that part. But I think at the end of it, it was just like, well, what's the point of like delving through? I think we both were just like, see ya.
Yeah. That's sometimes
bye.
the best, though, isn't it? Like, when you're both just like, oh, okay, yes, this is not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Always
Yeah.
Still hard, but in a different way, in a better way. That's just
yeah,
like,
it's hard. It's just like it felt like death, but not because it was just, it just shouldn't have been, but it was. But it was a growing process, that's for sure. But then I also what is it about like just like breakups that really, it was like an immediate like
yeah,
oh my God, there I am. And then I moved into my own apartment, which was a game fucking changer.
Nice.
Loved every second of that. And just really, it was like, I felt like a fucking pioneer woman, like, nothing to lose, fellas, let's get to work. Like there's just something about being the raw emotion that you are like, I was like my most like confident, like I want that, I want this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It just really clears the air in a way that was life-giving on every level.
It is a weird feeling when you wind up break. I mean, it shouldn't. I've definitely been in relationships where where you make the decision to end it, when you know it's the right decision to do it. That's one part that's freeing, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. then when it's finally over, it is weird because your whole body just feels like it takes off, and you're not pushing this boulder up.
No
It's
control.
insane.
Like my body
Yeah.
just like releases like a bunch of. I didn't even try it. Divorce is. I'm not actually. That's a problematic thing. I won't say that. But what I was going to say is that I just dropped like so much weight. It's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
my body was just like.
Yeah, you're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just was like wild. The physical side of that.
I've never like I can't describe it other than the fact that it's probably a bad way to describe it. I have no idea, but it feels like I've got no window in my like when I'm it feels like I'm strapped. And then when you're in the relationship thing, you can only see the other side of it from that person. Like that's like the wall. And it's terrible because at one point you're like, God, this is so fucked up. I still like this person as a person. And I'm sure at one point I loved this person a lot. But right now I cannot see them in any way than this, and it's fucking me up. And then, and I can't see any way out of it or whatever. But then once it's like,
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
because
it
you
totally
really
is.
experience like grief and all of its stages,
Yeah.
almost like textbook style, and which is I mean, honestly, it made things that I should have already been doing that much easier, because like when you're just like when someone is like searching for something to better themselves, like to me that's like a good way to be, because you're just like I was doing like 5-minute meditations every day, like really spending time with myself, like all the good things that should have just been in place, but were brought on by grief.
Yeah.
It's just like an interesting place to be. Do
you ever feel like, because I would like when that would happen to me sometimes, I felt like a fucking prophet because I would see other people in the same situation. I'd be like, come to me, my children. Let me show you what a breakup can do. Free
How
yourself.
quickly we become like relationship therapists too. Like,
I know.
And well, in my divorce, like, I mean, that is me to the T. It's just like the homie is going through a breakup, and I'm like there with just all this most safe. I'm just like, I should shut up and you should be in therapy, and we all should.
Oh God, yeah, we all absolutely.
That's
should.
a good statement. I agree.
Yeah, I know. That'd be nice if only I could afford it.
What's funny? You can't even get a therapist, which is the craziest part. Like, I feel like if you try to get therapy, it's almost impossible.
No, it is.
You're like, what is this about? Like, who's ever going to get there?
A buddy of mine went for an ADHD test, and because he finally he was going to therapy for a while. He thought he was super depressed, and then he kind of narrowed it down with some other people, and kind of found out it was probably ADHD, which I think Tom and I have talked about before. It was whatever. We had an ADHD doctor on too, a guy who's great. His name is Ned Hallowell. He's a neurodivergent dude. So anyway, so my friend went to go get a legitimate test. $2,000. $2,000. Insurance won't cover it. To legitimately get classified as having ADHD, you have to get this shit done, and then it's $2,000, and then they'll give you like a fucking paper. But you can actually just go to a doctor, like a regular therapist or whatever, and kind of tell them you want to be put on ADHD medication, even though there's no test for it, and they'll go, sure, here you go.
Yeah. You want to hear the sickest part? I've tried to like get a therapist, and they'll tell you, well, if you want medicine, I give you No, I want to talk. No, well, I can't fit that in my schedule, but we could give you medicine. I'm like, no, that doesn't work. Like, that's not what you're looking for. And that's like that's the root of like a treatment now. It's so weird. It's
all messed up.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And none of it encourages you to keep going either. My best friend and I think I've said this before, probably on the whatever, but we have both dealt with depression in different ways. I've dealt with it for a long time. He has too. He's more, of when it fucking hits him, he stays inside and doesn't do anything. I am very much like, I'm going to feel and do everything and never sleep and kind of try to take my
you spiral.
Yeah, I go. I mean, I'm telling you, I used to go fucking biking or running at like 2:00 in the morning. I would be like, well, I can't sit here. Like get up and
can't deal with that. Yeah.
Yep. It would as soon as it would start to feel like that's exactly what I would do. So, but we'd work together, whatever. And then I was living in LA at the time, and he was basically just like, I'm gonna go to a doctor and let them know I'm not doing that great, and I want to see a therapist. So we went to his doctor, and they were like, are you having suicidal thoughts? And he was just like, yeah, in the same sense that, like, I think we've all thought about it, or like whatever, But they were like, okay, great, BRB, and then left the room, and then a fucking cop showed up, and then the ambulance is outside, and they hauled him the fuck off, which stressed him out even more. And that's protocol. If you say that if you tell a doctor that you think you want to hurt yourself, they will fucking lock you up. So he had to have his girlfriend come and leave work and come pick him up at the psych ward section of a hospital. Yep. And that was his introduction into, that he needs therapy. So after that, he was just like, just a heads up. My friends and I have like
don't do that.
Like, just a heads up, guys. If you're ever fucking sad and you're going to seek help.
Damn.
Yeah. Isn't that nuts? Probably poor choice of words on my end, but
that was a good one. Pun intended. John has an excellent movie. Also was on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's still out, but Dup It, right? Where he has a depression puppet that follows him around. I really want to continue this. We're gonna do more Dup It.
We should do more. Yeah, I did it I did it before the pandemic, and I tried to make art out of the sad shit. So I love the Muppets. Big fan of the Muppets. Jim Henson, all that shit. Oh yeah, so it's so good. So Rainbow Connection all the way. So they had so I had this Muppet. Somebody bought me like an old a Muppet that you can make yourself. And I had my friend who's like a great artist, like restuff it and make it look like me. And then, so I wrote this
that's
script.
so dope.
Yeah. I wrote the script with a buddy of mine, and it was basically just like, I called it Dup It because it's a depression puppet. So it was like my psyche. And he just followed me around and told me really shitty things. Yeah. And then at the end of it, it was one of those things where like the whole movie, the concept of it is that communication is key. So if you're sad, you should talk about it, even if it's just talking about it with friends. And then the acknowledgement at the end is that everybody's going through something, because the main character, who is me, I'm a shitty actor. And the main character is me, and it's my Dup It. And then I'm in this restaurant with my friends who finally corner me and get me to go out. And then I notice that everybody's got their own version of a puppet. So we made it.
So cool.
Yeah, it was nice. It was fun.
You mentioned anxiety. We can get you an anxiety.
Yeah, get you anxiety Dup It.
We're gonna make this into a show.
Oh, I'll have all the puppets. I have a whole family.
Maybe that'd be a fun one, actually. You know what would be fun if we could create this show and then a musical guest could like play their song, and then their Duppets come off stage with them.
Absolutely. Sign me the fuck up.
So the way the series was written, because I did have a meeting with Henson Studios, and it was nice, and this is all pre-pandemic, and then everything kind of fell apart. But the way the series was kind of written was I wanted a guest star to have each episode. Like, they would have one story that ran through it, but each episode I wanted somebody like yourself to come on and then kind of have their own Dup It. And then you kind of see their story that way. We would get a perspective of bipolar Dup It, angry Dup It, anxiety-ridden Dup It. Everybody's got something they're dealing with. And
that was all just me.
And that was all just, that's all fun. Guido Dup It.
No,
Jesus Dup It. Guy who gave Jenny AIDS and Forrest Gump Dup It. I can play all the characters.
Do you want to see John's Dup It? I'll show you John's Dup It real fast.
Oh, we have a photo of it? Yes. I had shorter hair. But yeah, or shorter hair. Yeah,
I love that you're like kind of embarrassed by your Dup It. No one's judging you. It is a puppet.
Like, John just doesn't show his Dup It to anybody.
I want to see it again.
See? Oh yeah, go for it.
Go ahead, one more time.
This looks so good.
Thank you.
Fun.
My Dup It. My Dup It.
My Dup It.
My Dup It and me. That's the 80s kid in me that's just like, yay.
My buddy.
I had one. Did you have one?
Nope. Didn't have any of the cool toys. Didn't get the Jenkos.
No?
Didn't get the Airwalks.
Oh my God, Jenkos.
No Teddy Ruxpin?
No Teddy Ruxpin. Cousins and friends had it. We didn't have good snacks either. No one came over.
What would you have the generic snack?
No, it was always like a cash. My mom was really big into cashy.
Oh, the
it was
cereal.
Just like styrofoam foods, and also, do you guys remember those? Remember in the mid to late 90s, food like really was like really digging into the fat-free. Like, all new fat-free, but they would replace it because it was like the birth of whatever that was. Mm-hmm. They would replace it with that chemical or whatever the wizard powder it was.
Yeah.
Olean or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
They made potato chips, Lay's potato chips, that were fat free, but with this,
Oh my god.
whatever substance that was,
Right.
and it was essentially like a laxative.
Yes, and it would make.
Do you remember
yeah,
those chips?
anal leakage chips?
Yes.
Oily
Yes.
stool.
Yeah.
Yep.
These chips, and it was, and then afterward, a while they would still sell them because we're American, and they'd be like, hey, by the way, these may make your butt leak, but they
Yeah,
and people
but
would
they're delicious.
yeah. They're not good at parties. Don't
I
go
feel
in a
like
hot
the
tub.
90s were just like full of those things.
Yeah, we got duped by. I mean, everybody did. I think my parents did by fat-free shit because they would say fat-free, but then they load it up with fucking sugar to give it taste.
Yes.
Well, you were still like, I don't understand. I'm gaining weight. These are fat-free, and I'm like, well, first of all, they're gummy bears.
My
So-
face looks like a sausage. Yeah.
I'm gonna clip just that. I love that. That's a great soundbite. That's a great soundbite. Oh my god, that's fucking beautiful. Are we?
Good.
I feel bad. I've kept you
dumbass
for
mouth
over an
making
hour now.
sound bites. I'm like, please, God, don't make that a sound bite.
It'll be in remix at the club when we're all
My
finally
face
out.
looks like a
this
sound bite.
is Sarah Jaffe.
Sarah Jaffe.
On the remix.
Yeah.
Tom's a DJ. He can do it.
I can. We can make it
Sarah
happen.
Jaffe made it.
Oh.
Yeah, and then cue that sample.
All right. Well, last question then. So, Dystopia tonight. It's the name of the show. This is my favorite question because it ties in with it. If this was a genuine dystopia, more so than it is now, and we're talking aliens or zombies or a comet heading to Earth, whatever it is, it's everybody's last day. What is Sarah Jaffe's epic death? How do you want to go out?
Comet, baby. Take me out quick.
All right. I love it.
Together.
Oh, you want everybody to go together, waiting for the comet on like a hill,
Oof.
holding hands.
Yeah, like what is Melancholia style where they're just having a picnic.
Beautiful. Love it.
Something
I
like
love that.
I'd
That's
eat
great.
I'd eat a delicious meal and watch that asshole come for us.
Oh,
There you
nice.
go.
What would be the meal?
Mm.
Oh, it's gonna be
Probably just like a plate of sides, like
good. Yes.
French fries, mashed potatoes, mac and
Ooh.
cheese.
Love it.
A lot of carbs.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
No,
just
but it's
starch.
gotta
Just
be.
load me up with starch and
Starch.
carb,
Yeah, that's great.
butter.
Well, that's what we're gonna. We have a great artist that works on the show. Her name is Emily English, and she's gonna draw the cover. She always draws people's covers of that, whatever they say. So I'll be you on a picnic,
Eating a stick of butter.
Oh my
Yes.
god,
beautiful.
that shit's gonna go up in my studio then because
Awesome.
I haven't
Oh.
hung anything up yet. So
I will
that'll
send
be
it out
good.
to you. I'll DM you and get
hell
your address and
yeah.
shit.
Yes.
Bring on the giant space
Heck yeah.
rocks.
This was so lovely. This was
I'm
really
glad.
lovely. Yeah.
Thank you
We
so
enjoyed
much for
having
coming
you
on.
with
We
us.
appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. Is this my exit?
Yes,
we,
this is your.
we
Okay.
definitely got to
This is
hang
my
when we get to
Yeah, we'll
Brooklyn.
go to.
Come to
I mean,
Brooklyn,
I'm
I'm
in Brooklyn
serious.
all the time. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm
You
in.
got my info, man. Hit me
Grimaldi.
up.
We'll take you
is
out
on
for
me.
good pizza. Good pizza.
Yeah.
What's the name of the
Grimaldi's.
place? Grimaldi's. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
And if you
Awesome.
haven't walked over the Brooklyn Bridge yet, we'll do that. Me and my wife. That's a really fun. That's a fun
Oh,
walk.
it's beautiful.
I feel like that's a fun thing
I
to do in
need
New
a
York.
good New York day. I need this.
Let's do
We're
it.
gonna make it happen. Hang
Yeah.
out in the back. We'll be right back with you as we
All right.
sign on out.
Dystopia tonight.